Hello everybody, welcome back to another SUPboarder video. In this SUPboarder video, we're going to be doing a review of the Aqua Marina Vibrant Kids Inflatable Paddleboard. If you have any kids that are dying to get into paddleboarding this year and you've been doing some searching on the internet, you've probably come across this board because it's widely available around the world and it is at a fairly competitive price. In this video, I'm going to give you the full pros and cons, help you understand if this board is right for your paddling kids, and get a special guest in to give us their opinion of the Vibrant board. So the Vibrant has been in the Aqua Marina range for a few years now. Last year's board was yellow and now they've updated it with this new blue aqua colour. The specifications for this board is 8 foot long and 28 inches wide. It's 4 inches thick and the volume is 140 litres. It's a very light board at 5.4 kilograms when we weighed it. The retail price for this board is £319, but you can find it online for about £269, €290 or about $450. And that is coming as a complete package as a paddle, pump, bag, board and leash. Looking at the construction of this board, this is what Aqua Marina call the DS Light Tech. Drop stitch internal core, just like all of their other Aqua Marina boards. You've got 2 layers of PVC on the rail of the board. You've got an extra welded rail over the top and bottom on that rail to give it a bit more strength. It has a maximum PSI pressure of 15 PSI. You'll find a good size EVA diamond gripped deck pad on top of the board. You've got your bungees up at the front there, like most all-round paddleboards have, finished off with a central padded carry handle in the middle of the board. You've got your inflation valve and you've got your big chunky stainless leash D-ring at the back of the board. Looking at the other accessories you get with the package as standard, you get a very basic straight leash. It's got an elasticated center to it. It's not the sort of leash that really is going to take a big pounding when you go SUP surfing. It's just for general all-round paddling. The leash is absolutely adequate. It's nice and lightweight again. It's easy for them to put on, so I don't see a problem with this leash. The pump you get standard is the Aqua Marina V1. It pumps air into the board on the upstroke and on the downstroke, and then when the pumping gets hard you can remove this black sort of nozzle here and that just puts the air in the board on the downstroke. The Aqua Marina have got a V2 which is definitely a little bit easier to use, but the V1 does get the full 15 PSI into this board. It's also got a deflate setting here that you can put on to suck the air out if you want to pack your board down super small as well. The fin it comes with is the Aqua Marina slide-in click fin. It's a 9-inch fin, it's fairly stiff. It's the same fin they have with all of the other paddle boards. The good thing about this on this type of board is it means it's going to be able to make the paddler go in a straight line really easily. And looking at the bag you get as part of the package, it's the standard Aqua Marina bag. It's the small version of that bag. It's really easy to get the board in because the board rolls up really small. There isn't any padding on that bag and the back area. There's a small amount of padding on the shoulder straps. Definitely it's something that the young kids aren't going to be carrying very far because it's a bit bulky for them. It is a fairly basic bag, but to be honest, the board is so light, so if it's yourself carrying the board to and from the launch location, it really won't be a problem. A really nice thing that comes standard with the package is the new Aqua Marina Ace paddle. Now this is a very good proportioned paddle. Lots of other paddle brands have got kids paddles, but most of the paddles are too big. Now this is a really good size blade. In fact, it's the perfect size blade for kids. It's fairly lightweight. It's an aluminium shaft, but a nylon bladed paddle, so it's super hard wearing. They can ram it into the rocks, they can bash it up the beach. They haven't really got to look after it. And the blade has got a nice basic shape on it, not super efficient. We're not talking about race paddles here. We're just talking about a basic paddle. And this paddle is better than a lot of the other kids iSUP packages out there. The outlined shape of the paddleboard, you will notice it's very much just a scaled down all-round paddleboard. So you've got quite a lot of width all the way going up towards the nose, a nice big rounded nose, slightly more pulled in towards the tail. That's going to give the paddler quite a lot of stability when they're paddling forward because the wider nose, but also having the tail that's pulled in slightly is going to make the board paddle a little bit quicker than having a really wide tail on the back of the board. We've been doing a load of kids boards on SUPboard at the moment, so we get a lot of kids down, they jump on all the boards, play around on the boards. We get some really great feedback from them of what they like, what they don't like, and really what works best for them. A board like this at the specifications is going to offer the young paddler the ability to do all types of paddling. It's got a nice big large slide-in fin, which does make it a lot easier to paddle in a straight line, but it's still not too long, so if they do want to turn around and play around in the shallows and have a board that's a bit more manoeuvrable, it is going to do that as well. Being 28 wide, it's going to offer the paddler a good amount of stability and giving you a rough ideal age range for this board. Probably really young kids, you know, your 2-3 year olds up to about 11-12 years old are going to suit this board really well. The reason we're not going to go a bit heavier than that, that's due to the deflection desk, which I'm going to be speaking about now. So with our deflection desk, which we do with all our inflatable paddle boards, whether they're kids boards or full performance race boards, they go on a gap of 1.5 meters apart, and you put a weight of 75 kilograms on the center of the board, and then you measure how much the board bends or deflects. This board was pumped up to 15 psi and it dropped 34 millimeters, which is a very bendy board, to be totally honest. But remember, it is a 4-inch thick board and it is only pumped up to 15 psi. And also, the big pro to that disadvantage of it dropping a lot is the weight of the board, because it only weighs 5.4 kilograms, which shows they haven't put multiple layers of PVC and extra layers around the rails, which are going to give that board the extra stiffness. So yes, the deflection is not very stiff at all. I really do not think that is a problem because the board is so light. And if you're going to be putting lighter paddlers on it, up to about 50, 60 kilos at the max, but around the sort of 30, 40, 50 kilos, that sort of deflection doesn't matter to those weights of riders. But instead of me telling you more about this board, let me get my guest tester in, my daughter Izzy, who's 8, to tell us more about the Aqua Marina Vibrant and how she thought it was for her. Do you want a stool?
With a stool.
That's better, isn't it? So Izzy, what was it like when you were paddling this board?
It was fast.
It was fast, was it? Why do you think it was fast?
It's lighter.
It was lighter, yeah, it is actually a really light board. Did you find paddling it in a straight line easier than some other boards you've used in the past?
A little bit.
A little bit? Okay, that's definitely to do with that bigger centre fin. What other things did you like about the board?
Yeah, you could turn it around easier, but if it was somebody else, they may not be able to turn it around as easier because they don't have as much skills.
Nice skills? You've got lots of skills, have you? Yeah, you've paddled paddleboards a lot, haven't you? So this board was easier to turn around than other boards that you've used as well. Okay, why do you think that was? Do you think it's because it was nice and light? Okay, so the weight again is a good thing there. And the stability of the board, did you find it too wide or did you find it about the right width for you having fun and playing around with your friends? Do you think you like a narrow board or do you think it's about right?
About right.
About right, okay. Fantastic. And you had a few of your friends on these boards.
Yeah.
Did they enjoy using this one as well? Because you had a few other boards you were using at the same time. And you yourself have used lots of paddleboards in the past. How do you think this one rates to all the other kids' paddleboards you've used
I
before?
think it's sort of one of the best.
One of the best? Okay, that's really high praise there for the Aqua Marina. Okay, so is there any negatives or bad things you didn't like about this board you think could be improved?
I couldn't get my arm around it.
Okay, you couldn't get your arm around it basically because you've got shorter arms. How could it have been improved, do you think?
If it was a bit higher up.
Okay, so it could have been offset to one side. That would have been a really...
Or it could have been, there could be 2 here.
Or 2, but then maybe you'd be having your feet in the way, wouldn't you? If you put them both, if they're both here, your feet might be on top of the handle, wouldn't it? But maybe if they offset one, that might be good. Oh, that's a good little tip there. Well done, Izzy. I didn't think about that one. So having a little offset handle. What about any other handles?
There's no handles at the back or the front.
There isn't any handles at the back or the front, is it? And we've got some other paddleboards that you've got that have got them. And is that a lot easier for you and your friends to get the board to the water?
Yeah, if we're using 2 of us, then there's one at the front and then one at the back and they can hold the handle.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, any other things, any other negatives that we didn't... You actually unpacked this board. Is there any negatives with that?
That the packaging was bad.
Bad? Why was it bad?
Because it had plastic.
It had a lot of plastic, didn't it?
And only a little bit of cardboard.
Only a little bit of cardboard, so most of it was wrapped in plastic, wasn't it? And some other boards we've unpacked lately from other brands, they're wrapped in paper, aren't they? Which is much better, so that's definitely something that needs to change. Well, I think that was some great feedback there from Iz. Thank you very much for coming in, helping me out, and we'll see you on the water again soon. See you later. So there's some great feedback from Izzy there. It's fantastic getting kids on the water to do these reviews with us, because these boards aren't designed for our sort of weight, so they will bring out some advantages and disadvantages maybe we won't have thought about. And also looking at some other cons that Izzy hasn't mentioned already. The disadvantage to having a super light board with a fairly low deflection is if you're trying to get young teens on this board and they're maybe weighing up to about 70 kilos, 75 kilos, they're suddenly getting bigger and bigger. This board is starting to not be so optimum to paddle as some stiffer boards on the market. And the last con or thing to be aware of with the Aqua Marina Vibrant is the pump that's supplied with the board gets 15 PSI into the board, not a problem, but it's definitely easier for us, the adults, with more body weight to get that air in the board. So if you've got a really independent child that wants to inflate their board on their own, they're gonna have to get 11 to 12 PSI into it because it's not that stiff. They're gonna probably need a bit of work on their pump technique to get the most out of that pump. But the Aqua Marina Vibrant has got loads of advantages. It's a very nice lightweight board. It's only 4 inches thick, so it keeps the paddler nice and low to the water. It's got a good outline shape, which allows them to get into all types of paddling. The central fin allows them to paddle definitely a lot further, keeping them going in a straighter line for longer. Also, when you roll this board up, it rolls up nice and small because it's not got too many PVC layers in it. So it's a very compact board as well. And if you've got any younger paddlers, sub 50 kilos and down, desperate to get into paddleboarding, I think the Aqua Marina Vibrant could be a really good board for you to have a look at. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you found this video interesting and informative, and we'll see you on another SUPboarder video real soon.